Alright, so this is where the um, template is at right now. Doesn't really have anything to do with Moose at this point, but I'm just trying to get it so that I know it will cook and build packs correctly, and that the packs will be separated by maps. Let me show you what I did to the basic setup of the starter third person, just so that it would be structured more like Moose in the future. I've got the core, and in the core, I put all the geometry and base meshes that comes with the starter kits. I've got the mannequin that we're using as the default character for the moment, and of course, the rest of the start content, just so that it's tucked away someplace safe. All the references will remain in place. Going to be real important that any maps that use the starter content, a mannequin or geometry, um, make sure that anytime we change the core, we've got to redo the maps. If we redo the maps, we probably should redo the core just to make sure that everything matches up. Whereas if we bring a fully self-sufficient map into Moose, it probably doesn't matter so much. But in this case, what I did is I moved the map down to here. So basically, I divided the starter content maps into here. So you see the starter content maps. Again, if I make a change to starter maps here, I add some stuff, I have to make sure it's up here, etc. If I make a change to the third party maps, and again, get the blueprints in here for the third person. Some of the meshes that are in there for that are in the scene. So that's kind of a sample of something a little bit more sophisticated. Now, for the moment, I've taken this, and this is by default. If we go into doing the project settings, since I don't have Moose to switch levels, and I don't have any code in here to switch levels, we'll be doing it this way for now, but just to show that it all works. So for now, third person example map is our startup map, and we're all good with that. So I'm just going to close that. And I can again test it from here. But again, this isn't always a good test because even though this thing won't compile into a Windows executable, if there's a mistake, you can still play this here. And that's just so it makes it playable. So how do we make sure that this is actually playable? Well, two phases. One is cooking and packing and getting it ready for the executable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit escape because I don't have to do this the hard way this time. I'll have to do that for some of the other maps. I'll show you that when I get to it. But let me show you how I would create an executable. I will go to... First, it's got to cook. Before you go package and build Windows, make sure that it cooks. So I'm going to say, will this entire application, will everything in here cook? So I'm going to say cook the contents, and I'm going to show you the output log here so you can see what's happening. And yeah, show the output log. You are right. Let me just do this again. Show the output log. There we are. Oh, there we are. So it's showing. Need to make sure you get no errors while it's cooking. Now, Moose right now has a zillion errors when it's cooking. No chance of it even thinking about packing in any way, shape, or form. So, gotta start thinking about cleaning up the errors. Links that aren't there, that kind of thing. Because if it doesn't cook, any kind of packing action we try to do, whether it's cooking and packing the whole thing, or cooking and packing specific modules, it's just gonna blow chunks, and the user of the template's gonna have an issues. They have to be able to cook everything in their project successfully before they use our menus eventually to upload. To cook and pack, and eventually upload into Steam or wherever else. So we got a clean cook. We're good there. We got no problems there. So I'm just gonna close the output log. That means that I'm going to open up a directory here. And since Say cook clean. That, by the way, that goes and saved. There's one of the commands I'm going to do. Now, by default, this is my startup map. So I'm going to say, let's go ahead and package this up and create an executable. Now, what I did is I created a separate directory for my executable to live in. Again, I know the cooking is not going to be a problem, so it'll just pack. And I'll select the folder. And again, there's a big long output log. As long as somebody gets something to look at while it's doing it. Get any errors here? Gotta be fixed. Go back into the project, go back and fix it. Now, hopefully it won't mean they have to fix anything we provide in the template, but there could be things in the map that the person is building that would be an issue, and they would have to deal with it. So at this point, it's going to recook it, cook everything, and it's doing a few other things that I'm going to explain in just a few minutes. Like, okay, so the whole thing goes into one gigantic pack file. How does that help us? Nope, it doesn't go into one gigantic pack file. It goes into pack files that are based on some maps, and the rest of it goes into one gigantic pack file, which the executable will hot load when we fire it up. Since we don't have code to hot load it manually, no problem as long as it's in that specific directory of our executable. It gets hot loaded automatically. So we're kind of taking advantage right now of the system's ability to automatically cook and pack. I'm taking advantage of the system's automatic ability to hot load and get all the packs in so that it can run. So it said now that it's executing 4 Unreal pack commands. This actually means that what I've done in the project indicate that I want to break out parts of the project into chunks and pack files is happening. Now, this is important one because our hot loading of moose maps in the future, but it's also helpful if you were to like update parts of the project and do patching. So this is really where you decide how to chunk things up into pieces. Depends on how you want to patch your project in the future, or you want to patch the application in the future. So at this point, packaging is complete. Alright, so we should be good to go. So what I'm going to go do is I'm going to hop over to this directory where the executable is now. You now see we have a Windows executable inside of MapPack. Whoop, I gotta get the right one. Gotta get the right one. Yeah, MapPack. I gotta go into content. You see packs, and then you see all of them. Now, what we got here is this is most of the starter content assets. It's a mannequin, all the general stuff. Then we have 3 maps. One of them is a map that is the maps for the starter content. The chunk that contains the maps for the starter, not the map itself in this case. And then the other one that contains the maps for the third person. And this one, by the way, contains the maps for the sun scene. Okay, let me show you how I got it to go into those 3 later in just a minute. But first of all, let me show you that because I made the third person starter the first window, I'm going to run the program, and it may not go in the right window first, so I may have to move it over. So just give me a sec. It's going in the wrong window. Hold on a second. Let me just move this so you can see. Hold on. Alright, I gotta do something in OBS so you can see this. Hold on a second. Display capture. Gotta add a display capture. Okay, there we go. Now you should be seeing it. I gotta swap between display captures here. So this is just a third-party guy. You know, he runs, he does his normal stuff. So I should be able to just hit escape to kill him. No, I guess I can't. Okay, I'll kill it this way. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let me get back to this other monitor where we got all our stuff. Okay, So let me go into project and describe for you what's going on. How did I get it to break out? And then I'm going to switch to the Sun Temple as my startup. So I'm going to go find my project, and I'm going to close that so we can see. Now, you'll see that, again, I structured this the way we're going to do this for Moose. There's my maps right there. I've got the startup maps right here. And again, I didn't pick one yet, but I could use any one of these. The third party, and then this is the map we loaded as part of the project. Now let me show you how it divided stuff up. So I go in here, you're going to see this data asset that we have to create. Basically, it's creating um, a primary asset label. Let me open that in the editor real quick. I got to bring that over so you can see it. And you will see that what I chose was a chunk ID. Priority 1, label the assets in the directory, just so that everything's there. Now, in order for it to do this in the project, you have to go into your project settings, and you have to go into packing. Where are you? Packaging options. You need to make sure that we're using a pack file. We are generating chunks, and this will happen the first time you use the staging directory, so you don't have to change that. And that's it. It will, when you go to build the project, it will automatically say everything in this folder goes into oh crap, this can do that to me every time, isn't it? To 2001. And you saw that when it said a pack file. Okay, so that's where the sun file is. Startup maps, same deal. I created one for here. I'll open it real quick, move it over so you can see it. Uh, that's chunk ID 2001. I think the other one was 2000. If not, I gotta fix that. Oh, that was 2100. I'm sorry. Yeah. I, again, you gotta plan it out so that they don't conflict, or they're gonna overwrite, which is gonna do you a lot of good. Okay, so obviously this file structure is exactly the same thing I dragged into Moose. Exactly. Ori maps, Sun Temple, assets. I did change nothing. This is exactly what we have running in Moose right now. What I'm going to do, just for the sake of making sure that I can, since I don't have code to hot swap maps, and I know it's loaded because if it's in that folder, let me show you the folder. If it's in this folder, in the map pack, content packs, UE4, when it loads an executable, will load everything in here to make sure that it's there. Okay. So let me go here and make this my startup since I can't hot swap. I'll go into edit, project settings, maps and modes, and I'm now going to test sun level temple. Oh, I also, of course, went in and made the game mode none so that it would latch onto the third person um, controller. It's sort of like we have to also do for the other. I'm just going to make sure that, yeah, that's just playing a map level. All right, so this should be good. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild the executable right now. Again, the goal is going to be for me to add menus and things that will cook them maps at a time or folders at a time. But this just shows that everything is working. They would have to test and make sure that they could do this themselves. So I'm going to go back in print 6. I'm going to take the same folder and we'll show the output log. And if everything's working, the executable is now pointing to the Sun Temple. So when I load it up, and I'll have to again do a hot swap of screens when I get there. I apologize, this is long, but there's no other easy way to explain it without being totally lost what's going on. Uh, Again, I'm just proof of concept that I can break things out, that everything compiles, that when the map is loaded and chosen, it will run, and it's using the same map we used in Moose. Exactly. So that's the proof of concept so far. And again, I'm not going to load a ton of things in Ori Maps because this is a long way to do it. Much easier to cook and map parts. But again, that's going to take some more scripting that I still need to do, and probably got to create a UE plugin to give that ability to us, like Helios does. And that's just to get the map pack file made, and then of course we'll have to get it so that it goes to Steam and downloads from Steam and all that kind of stuff. All right. Again, these are just intermediate ones. That says, "Oh, you went to 2100," and but nothing's there. So we should go. So now it's executing four Unreal Pack commands because there's the default stuff. There's the sun map. There's the starter maps section, and there's the third party uh, game portion. So when they're all done, I've got to wait for them to finish. One of them is done. Don't know which one. When they're all done, I should be able to go and run the executable, and the default map should now be the Sun Temple map. Uh, Again, I will build the additional components off of this starter template. This is just the first attempt at it. This is for the core of it. We're going to need to add um, some minimal pieces of moose to this eventually as well. But again, this is just to get it going. Okay, so I'm going to go grab the executable folder. Gotta go back up to here. Windows no editor. And now I can execute it, and I'm going to have to swap screens again in just a second. And let me do that really quick. Hold on. Let me do that really quick so you can see. Go back to my primary monitor. Okay, there we go. And here I am. Again, this map is exactly the same one that's imported to Moose as is, no changes whatsoever. But right now, instead of using Moose, and I guess in a sense, it's using the default third-party um, project as its like driving engine. So yeah. So there we go. I can break things in pack files. I just now have to come up with the tools to do it more uh, specifically. I know that it works. I know the packs are good. What Unreal needs to use automatically works. And on to the next step. Plus, you want to have an idea of how packs work and how cooking and packing works. So this was also a chance to demonstrate that. So that said, there we go. All done. Hope that made sense. If not, we can talk about it later in our meeting because that's coming up. Talk to you later. Bye.